At this time, I would like to call the Hardin County Board of Education meeting to order. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If y'all will join me, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And our board commitment sign is gone, but Dawn can handle that for us.
I am prepared.
Thank you.
To improve our effectiveness, the Hardin County Schools Board team commits to keep children first, listen, be prepared, be professional, demonstrate financial stewardship, represent the entire district and support district goals, and support board decisions.
Okay, thank you. And recognitions, and Mr. John Wright will take care of that for us.
Yes, sir. You have three, we have several HCS Stronger Together award winners, and you're going to hear some good stuff about those award winners when you pass the resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Miss Isabel Hobbs. Come on up, Miss Isabel. She has already given you a delicious treat, so I'm sure you guys will be taking advantage of that later. But
That's the cookies
That's
that you
the-
told
yeah,
me not to
yeah.
pass out.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Isabel. Isabel is a senior at Central Hardin High School. She organized a fundraising event at school called Raise Red, and she's got her shirt there to prove that. It raised more than $9,600 for pediatric cancer treatment and research for the University of Louisville's Department of Pediatric Oncology and Hematology. Raise Red is originally a student-led campaign at the University of Louisville. While the event at U of L is an 18-hour dance marathon, the Raise Red at Central Hardin was 8 hours long. Isabel has organized similar events in the past, modeled after events at the University of Kentucky. However, after realizing that 3 students at Central Hardin were being treated at U of L, she decided to organize a Raise Red event instead. She recruited fellow Central Hardin Beta Club members to help organize the project and raise money. She also approached teachers about recruiting volunteers for the project in order to have diverse participation. About 150 students took part in the event. Each hour of the event focused on a different theme, such as Zumba, throwbacks, and Disney music. In addition, a different speaker would talk each hour about their journey with cancer. Some were current Central Hardin students, and some were alums. Isabel hopes the event becomes an annual tradition at Central Hardin and continues long after she graduates. We appreciate you. Thank you. And her dad is here, so we appreciate you coming as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Appreciate you. All right, Miss Kendra Pence and Miss Jenny Scott, come on up here together, guys. And those two ladies and Peggy Snow, who could not be here tonight, will tell you why they have earned the HCS Stronger Together Staff Awards. These guys work in the John Hardin High School cafeteria, and they organize that school's food share program. The food share programs have been established at schools across the district. Food that is unused is collected at the end of each lunch period, plated, bagged, and given to students whom the school's Family Resource Center or Youth Service Center coordinator, in this case Ms. Peggy Snow, that they know may have obstacles in obtaining another meal at any other time during the day. Ms. Pence, Ms. Scott, and Ms. Snow do a masterful job working together to ensure that students receive this food in a discreet and respectful manner. The process is a well-oiled machine. Ms. Pence and Ms. Scott volunteered to take on the program's responsibilities, while other child nutrition staff who are more familiar with the process have absorbed other duties. They said, we'll do it, we'll take care of it, and they do a great job at it. So thank you for what you do for our kids. Thank you, ladies.
That's
Appreciate
great.
you.
I've always, just the waste part at some places is terrible. That's great.
Yeah, we bag it up all across the district. These ladies do a fantastic job, as all our schools do. Mr. Gary Bohannon, come on up, Gary. Gary Bohannon is the executive director at Helping Hand of Hope. He's retiring at the end of this month. His leadership and cooperation with the school, Family Resource, and Youth Service Centers coordinators have been critical in our district to help students and their families who have encountered many of life's obstacles. Under his leadership, Helping Hand of Hope expanded its services with new programs that help HCS students, including the Beds for Children program, which empowers low-income families to provide gifts for children and their first client select food pantry in Hardin County. He credits Beds for Children program, that idea, to the HCS Family Resource Center coordinators, and so far more than 70 beds have been given to children who did not have one in which to sleep. Helping Hand of Hope also partners with the United Way of Central Kentucky to offer a volunteer income tax assistance program that offers free income tax preparation for low-income families and individuals. I'm sure that some of our Frisk send over there. Mr. Bohannon and his wife Pat, who is here tonight, she is the former lead teacher for our Excel program. They are both true and certain friends of this district, and we wish them well in their many healthy years of retirement. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tom. Wonderful stories tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Great. Okay, focus on academics, and Mr. Greg Sutton will take care of that for us.
Good. Okay. Are you Greg?
Thank you. There's something I said for you, so many things to talk about.
Thank you.
It did. Thank you all for letting me speak to y'all tonight about our test scores. It's kind of hard to really put such a large amount of data into a quick summary, but I basically want to start by thanking a lot of people. I want to start by thanking our bus drivers. I want to thank our cafeteria workers. I want to thank our instructional assistants. I want to thank our office staff members, people that greet you every day when you walk into the school, our custodians, our volunteers, our principals, our parents, our students, and most important, our teachers. That's a lot of people that work together to impact students and their learning. And we can start off with that bus driver who starts off with that smile in the morning, greeting the students, the cafeteria workers. We were at East Hardin Eaton last month during our meeting, and they took care of us. We were there, and they smiled, and were very, very welcoming, very appreciative. Our instructional assistants are dynamite when they're leading small groups. Our office staff, very welcoming. Our custodians, John Stead does a super job with that, keeping our schools very clean for everybody, for our community. Our volunteers, a lot of people step up to help students. I can't thank them enough, whether it's working on sight words, fast facts, advising students, mentoring students. A lot of that's going on that we don't see. We look at a number and forget the people behind the numbers. So these kids are more than a number. And our teachers are working extremely hard. And my goal is to make sure we're doing the right things and the right processes. Do we have to improve? Yes. Do we have a lot of growth to make? Yes. Are we up to that challenge? Yes. We are. So I want you to know that we're all in. We've got a lot of processes that we're working together on. And I want to thank Linda Reed. She's here with us tonight, our Director of Assessment and Accountability. She's back here in the back. Linda, you want to stand up and wave here? There she is. Linda does she does a great job. Linda has done a great job this year. She's been very active. She's been out in schools. She's been working with principals, teachers on our map growth. She spent a lot of time with the principals going over their data with them so we can take that data and see where we need to improve. So without her leading that process, we wouldn't be able to make some of the positive growth that we're going to make from this point. Looking at the Part A on that sheet there, I just wanted you all to be able to see. I won't read that word for word to you tonight. That's for you to kind of take with you. I just wanted you to see, based on the new STAR ratings, this is a new accountability system. This is what we're being scored on. This is how those scores are developed, based on reading and math performance. Everybody gets a proficiency indicator rating. Everybody's focused on social studies, science, and writing for separate academic indicator rating. We've got student growth. For 1 year growth, the growth indicator rating. We've got transition readiness. We've got graduation rate. So go down there in Part B, all three of our levels had an overall 3-star rating. So if we say, well, we're not where we want to be, that may be so. But I think that's a really good start. And when you look at our star ratings, we had 13 schools that were 3 stars. And we had one 4-star school, which is Lincoln Trail Elementary School. I think their principal's here tonight, Miss Gina Jeffries. Super job. It's not easy to achieve. I always say if it was easy, then everybody would do it. And so it's That's a great accomplishment for that school, but I don't think they're going to rest. I think they're going to focus on a growth mindset, and they're going to get better. They want to be a 5-star school. We all do. A lot of district highlights. The part in Part C I want you to see there, in Part C, if you could look down there with me tonight, is the first line. I want y'all to look at that growth indicator. The top 3 schools in our district for our growth indicator was New Highland Elementary School, number 1, Heartland, number 2, and check that out. Ratcliffe Elementary School, a CSI school, last year, bottom 5% of the state, is not a 1-star school this year. Because of their growth and their improvement, they jumped up to a 2-star school, had the third highest growth in the district. So to me, I call this an equal opportunity system. Everybody has the ability to grow. Everybody has the opportunity to be a 3, 4, 5-star school. Everybody has the opportunity to be number 1 in growth. But if you look back at New Highland, they were number 1 in growth in math last year on the MAP test at the end of the year in 5 out of 6 grade levels in the district. So their MAP scores correlated directly with their K-Prep growth. And I think, is Shalise Spiker here tonight? She is. That's amazing. And and you look at Heartland Elementary School, you look at their MAP growth from last year. It's a direct correlation. They came back 2nd overall in the K-Prep growth rating. So equal opportunity system. If I'm a principal, I want to be number 1 in growth. That's my number 1 goal, because that's what we're about. We're about taking every kid where they're at and moving them to the next level. That's a challenge we're up to, and some of the processes you see there at the bottom that we're working on, there's a lot of them. And you say, how do you emphasize one over the other? You really can't. You just have to break it up into small chunks and work with teachers, work with PLCs, and work with principals, and keep getting better. So I know, like I said, there's a lot of numbers involved in this, but if you guys have any questions, Linda's going to answer every one of them for you. So I'm kidding. I don't know if you have any questions. That's a lot, but it's.
I have a question.
We'll try.
So is this rating system, is this the 3rd year in a row we have a new rating system?
In a sense, we kind of had a break in the system, if I'm saying that correct. Linda can probably explain it better than me.
So
But
we've been transitioning
Yeah.
to this new model. It has taken 3 years
Hey,
for it
Linda.
to go through.
They need you to speak at the mic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
she didn't want to do this. That's why I brought her, just in case.
So it takes several years for it to go through the federal requirements, sent back, reviewed, revised, and so that's why we've been in transition.
So it's
a
been
couple of years we haven't
transition.
received, we've been transitioning to the new model.
Okay.
We've received proficiency and separate academic indicator are 2 things that we've always had. The growth model's changed, we've sent it back, got it reapproved by the federal government, and then it's come back, and now this is really, they say this is going to
So
stay.
we might be on this one a while?
We might be on this for a while.
Because it's good to work to a system that doesn't move underneath
Correct,
you.
correct,
Okay.
yes.
Good.
We'll probably have this for a while, is what
Good.
they're telling us, so. Any other questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
And here's what I say about the equal opportunity system. If you think back 20 years ago, I've been around doing this 24 years, and the system changes about every 5 to 6 years. Well, you all been through it as well. So about 8 years ago, when they started focusing on novice reduction, they focused on the individual child. 24 years ago, they would say, how did this group of students do versus that group? Well, that's me saying, how did John Calipari do in 2012 with the national championship team versus the 2013 NIT team? It's 2 different teams, 2 different groups of students, 2 different groups of players. You really can't compare that, but you can take a student who's novice high and you move them to apprentice or proficient, and you can grow that child, and that's a fair, I think, evaluation of growth. So it's an equal opportunity system. Whoever wants to be number 1 can take it, as far as that goes for anybody in the state. So I like the system we're under over the last 7 years as far as growth, and we're going to keep doing better. So that's a good question.
Correct me if I'm wrong, like graduation rate.
Okay,
We lost like 3 students from John Hardin
it's true.
last year. That was counted against our graduation rate.
Yes.
Are they gonna change that? It's sort of unfair.
Not that I'm aware of. They have not changed that
And
policy.
That can easily drag you a number or 1 student below
It can.
a star.
It greatly affected John Hardin. Yes, unfair.
That's unfair.
That's why we're more than a number.
That's right. Thank you.
You gotta look at,
Exactly right.
you
Well
gotta look at
said.
children.
Well said, yes.
Right. Because if you look at the bottom line on everything, we can find a lot of, I'll say this, I'll say it's an equal opportunity system, let's go to a distinguished kid. Well, if they are distinguished in 4th grade, they go to distinguished in 5th grade, you only get half of a growth point.
Right.
And
It's
so
because they topped out.
it's a sense like,
Yeah.
you know, why don't you give them an entire growth point? If they improve their skill score, allow them to show, but, so, they want to penalize you for going backwards, but they don't want to reward you for at least maintaining or maybe even growing. So that, there is a little glitch, but I still say it's an equal opportunity system. I'll take my chances. If I'm a principal, I'm taking my chances and rolling. So,
Good.
yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
And
Okay.
recognition of visitors, and you want to sign up, but I would like to say thank you to all the principals, staff, employees that's showed up here tonight. We'd like to have you. I'm not gonna say we put the oil where the squeaky wheel is anymore, because
That was probably bad.
they'll be asking for it. We appreciate y'all coming. No visitor? John? Okay. All right, construction updates. We had some construction updates at the noon meeting. I think they're about approximately 3 weeks behind schedule. That might be made up, it may not, but we'd rather have it not made up than have a poor job of construction skills that are used. So I think I kindly told them that 3 weeks was 21 days, and there were 21 more weeks between now and before school started again. So if they work one Saturday every week, they could make that up. That probably won't go over too good. And we did look at a rough sketch drawing of Central Hardin renovation. I've been asked 2 or 3 times over the past month. We're working on some ideas, more space, new gym, auxiliary gym, and a few things out there. So if you hear the rumor out there that we're getting ready to spend 40 or 50 million on Central, we're making preparations, but it won't happen tomorrow, okay? And we're down to the consideration of the consent agenda. We've not got a great deal on there tonight. It's not normal monthly procedures, but we're going to approve North Hardin High School to graduate early. This is an outstanding student, good grades, and he's going to get accepted to a really nice college, and he wants to play football, so he can be there for spring training if we allow him to do this. And we feel like that, you know, his grades are great, and he's got a bright future in football. So, plus maybe pharmaceutical school.
Pharmaceutical, yes,
So
sir.
he's got some
School, yeah.
future ahead of him. And we're going to approve him to graduate in December and go on so that he can further his education and his football playing. And we're going to approve the West Hardin Middle School 8th graders to travel to Washington, D.C. by commercial carrier. John Hardin High School senior class to travel to Atlanta, Georgia, commercial carrier. And then we have the financial reports, orders of the treasurer, and school activity fund balance. KISTA resolution. You want to explain a little bit of the KISTA resolution? That's
Yeah.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
get some of these acronyms that get sorted.
And I may not get the acronym exactly right, but it's Kentucky Interlocal School Transportation Agreement. And what it allows is school districts that are in need of purchasing buses to get with one company, Ross Sinclair and Associates, and it's issue one bond that covers all the bus costs. It doesn't make sense to bond for 1 or 2 buses if you're a small school district. So this allows a lot of districts across the state to put their money together, save money on finance charges, and issue one bond. So what's up before the board tonight would be for the our Board of Education to consider purchasing 5 school buses through that program.
Okay. So we're approving if we want to use that, we can use it.
If we want to enter into that agreement, we need approval from the board to do so. Yes, sir.
All right.
So our approval tonight is a commitment to do so?
Correct.
Okay.
This had to be done before November now, you know, if y'all want to pull it, we can pull that, or,
Okay. Just want to be clear that we're,
we
which we're voting on.
yeah, we've had some discussion about it.
Yeah.
We discussed it last month also. and
Yes.
I don't know, I'm not 100%, but I see the need for it, so, we can go ahead and pass this if we decide, the deadline is before the next meeting.
Is November 15th. You only get one opportunity a year to do it, and if you're going to participate in the program, you have to let them know by November 15th.
We're gonna let them know that we will participate, and if something changes our minds between now and then, we'll
Okay.
have a meeting and we'll pull out of it.
Understood.
Comfortable
Yes, sir.
with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've got that option to pull out up till that.
Yeah, up till we
Deadline
have to
date.
say yes.
I would believe so. I would need to check on that to be sure, but we could certainly hold the paperwork until November
Right, of course.
12th
Right.
or
All
so.
right, thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you doing the hard work to put that together, too.
Okay, and, approval of a waiver request for Lincoln Trail Elementary project. And approval of the BG1 for Central Hardin, that's what I was talking about a while ago. We have to get a BG1 in and tell them that we're thinking about adding on to a gym to make more cafeteria space where the, practice gym is, and there's just a whole lot has to go through the state, so we start that process. There can be many changes before, but we have to let them know that we're gonna.
Yeah, we had to start that process before we have final plans at all.
It's just like a process of
Yeah.
intent that we're
Yeah.
gonna do something.
Yeah, that's good description.
All right, and approval of school-wide fundraisers. And then, got personnel actions certified and classified, site-based decision-making minutes, PAC information, and approval of some revisions to some policies. Received a copy of the changes to those procedures, and we're approving the minutes of the September meetings. So anyone have anything they want to remove or talk more about or whatever, we'd be open for it.
I think I'm good with it as it stands, so I move we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second.
I have a question.
All right,
Okay.
The bus thing,
okay.
is it still on here?
Yes, what we just discussed is if we approve this now, we still have until that date to pull until November 15th to pull it. So, but if we don't approve it now, then we'd have to have a special meeting just to go ahead. This way, we can still just not submit the paperwork on that.
Okay.
So should we decide not to participate, John's gonna hold the paperwork like till the day before it needs to go or something, and then we would have to have a special meeting probably to.
That might even be an emergency meeting because of the nature of what it is.
To change
but yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be an emergency meeting.
We're giving him the permission to go ahead and fill out the paperwork, and if we don't decide to change it between now and 15th.
November 15th.
15th.
But if we don't make that decision now, you can't really move ahead at all, so,
If you don't pass the resolution, we cannot participate in the program.
yeah.
Well, I'm very much opposed to doing that, so that's the reason I asked about it.
I'm somewhat opposed to it also. you know, we talked about this some last month, and we talked about it a little bit more today at the noon meeting, and, if y'all want to pull it, we, you know, we can do something different here, and we can hold it, and should we decide different, we've got to have a special meeting before
November the
15th. I mean,
15th,
I
yes,
don't
sir.
want to put John in a spot that he can't get the paperwork
My,
done.
my
So we-
personal feeling would be to leave it on, but be ready to have a special or emergency to pull it. That way it lets him get the paperwork done. What that means though is if we don't do anything, it's a commitment. That's why I was asking that commitment question earlier.
Would that be better for you, John, to do it that
Which
way?
way is better for you?
Or you work on it and then we just scrap what you've worked on?
I think it's however you want to do it. You know, either way, it sounds like you're going to have a meeting depending on whatever the outcome.
Well,
If you're happy with it, you won't have to have another meeting. If you're not happy with it, you're going to have another meeting, is what it sounds like.
But we're talking about 5 buses instead of 10.
Correct.
5, and how much are we still talking about? Do I remember about $80,000 in interest we'd pay up?
Correct, over 10 years.
Over 10
Be about
years.
the
Over a
cost
10-year period.
of a school bus over 10 years, yes, ma'am, in
On-
finance
On
charge.
5, or was that on 10?
That's
That's
on,
on 5.
that's on.
It's on
That's on
5.
Yeah, but the cost of carrying 5 older buses for 10 years is a very similar cost.
There would be some savings in some of the finance charges you'd recoup and maintenance savings, that is correct.
Yes, so, and you get some, recovery from the state for new buses and such, so.
Correct.
And you don't get that if you don't have new buses.
Correct.
So if you look at the numbers, it's a similar number to bond, to buy the buses under bond or not, because of the maintenance costs. Now that,
Okay. Tax income, tax bills will be sent out this month, the end of this month.
I believe so, yes, November 1st.
Do we have a definite number yet of what we're supposed to receive from them since they've been done?
We have a projected number, and again, that can vary somewhere around 2%, but it should be
Because of
pretty
collections?
close. Correct, because of
But,
collections.
but projected number is a true number of what they should be.
Correct.
Well, I probably mistake that after I think about it. We know how many dollars are supposed to come for sure. Projected is what some people don't pay, so that changes the real number that we
We should
get.
know roughly within 98% accuracy of how much local revenue will generate. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
yeah, so the
Right.
number that they provide actually takes into account a particular level of historical non-payment.
True,
Okay.
true.
So we won't. So you know exactly how much that changed. I mean, that's gonna change our budget up, down a little bit.
A little bit, and that's true every year. It's just because, you know, if this is a particularly bad year where collections are down, then obviously you don't take in as much. And if it's a good year where collections, you know, you get a close to 100% collections, then you have a little bit better year. But it should be very close.
And what would our monthly payment be on that?
Okay, I don't have that in front. Actually, it might be in that agreement. But,
It's in the,
I can get that for you.
it's in one of the documents.
I'm gonna ballpark it for you at around, $20 to $25,000 a year. No, I'm sorry, double that, around $50 to $60,000 a year, but I'll get that number for you.
Do we pay it yearly or monthly, or we
Just like
pay
a
it
car
yearly?
payment, it's very similar to a car payment.
So it is a monthly payment?
I'm sorry, for us, we pay it twice a year.
Twice
but
a year. It's 2
But it's
payments a
like
year.
Right.
it's like a twice a year car payment.
Oh, okay. Are a lot of districts doing that?
I don't know that I would say a lot, but there are districts, and it kind of ebbs and flows. Some years districts participate, some years districts don't. Districts I've worked in and prior to this district have used this program.
And because we're bonding money, is that how we get around not going into debt?
Oh, no, we go into debt. But it's just a way, if you don't have cash to pay for buses, it's a way to but buses are just a big purchase. It's a large ticket item.
Yeah, I understand that, John.
Especially for most
But I
small
thought-
districts.
I thought it was illegal for a school district to go into debt.
We go into debt.
Except for bonding buildings and things.
Right, well, this would be one exception
Yeah.
that they've come up with for school districts for this large purchase, because buses are so expensive,
Yeah.
to go into debt to help stretch that cost over a number of years.
I'm good with leaving it on there for right now and voting like we are.
And as to the question of do lots of districts do it, if they didn't, this program couldn't exist. So if there's enough participation,
Correct.
because the rates, the financing rates and everything are quite low for the bonding.
Well,
I'd
that's
be
what makes-
interested in knowing what other districts are in this program.
Yes, ma'am, we can get you a list.
Okay.
But that is a good point. Right now, interest rates are rather low. That makes the program that much more attractive.
Yeah.
If interest
To
rates were
lock
high,
in, yeah.
it would not be as attractive.
Sure.
Right.
What about, now we've had some buses that were in wrecks, accidents, some of them is even totaled. It don't take much to total a vehicle anymore due to the safety guidelines.
Yep.
Some of those buses have sat on our lot until a certain time. Would these buses be in the same situation? The insurance would go ahead and pay for that bus, or we just lose a bus in that situation?
Now, these would be our buses.
Yeah, there are buses this way, yeah.
We're just paying for them instead of paying for them this year, we're paying for them over 10
But
years. But we would keep them a minimum of 14 years. We keep every bus at least 14 years, no matter what happens to it, because we get certain revenue back from the state
Yeah.
Okay.
up to that 14th year. The 15th
That's-
year, we
that's
get no
the
more
reason.
money from the state.
That's the reason the wreck.
But now
bus-
we'll take everything
Yes.
off the bus that we can that's still usable. If there's
Yeah.
a muffler or tires or mirrors or whatever that we need, we'll take it down just to the metal,
Yeah.
and it'll sit on that lot for however many more years till it gets its 14th year, and then we'll get rid of it.
So we get some
Yeah.
money back on
That's
those.
right.
So actually, they're not insured then?
No, we self-insure our buses. Our track record's been pretty good. We carry liability, obviously, but as
Right.
far as comprehensive
Right.
coverage, we don't carry that.
So it costs nothing more for it to sit there than, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Other than just taking up space.
Yeah. Which is why we bought the bigger space some years ago.
But you still have to pay for it.
True, yeah, you've got to pay for it no matter
This
what.
bus- if one of these-
Just like a total
This
vehicle.
bus was wrecked and
Yeah.
it sat there 10 years.
Yes,
We
sir.
can still pay for the bus, even though we're not using it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I see where you're
So-
going there.
So how do we trigger a special meeting to reverse this?
We've had-
Because I want to do it right now.
You want to reverse it right now?
I'm
Okay.
kidding. Do you want to pull
Okay.
it, do you want to pull
You
it
wanna
from the
go for it,
agenda?
and we can have a special meeting if we want to go ahead and approve it.
Yeah, we can go either way.
I mean, I'm okay with either way. I'm not really sold on the system either. I don't like.
If we could just figure out another way to buy these buses.
Yeah. And I'm thinking something will be out there that's the man right there.
When do we need to buy these buses? Do we need to buy them now, or can we wait till next spring, or?
We could, and if Mr. Porter, I don't think's in the room, he would be better apt to answer kind of where our fleet is. And currently our fleet's in decent shape, but every year we put off buying buses, it's, like any other operation, there's gonna be a consequence down the road. So
Well,
if we don't-
is this the time of the year that we buy them, though?
Typically, it
Yes,
is, and
yeah.
that's why the
Yeah.
KISTA program is this time of year, because that typically, you put your order in, and it's not like going out and getting a car. That order goes to a manufacturer, they make the bus, and then we go get
Yeah,
it. So
they're
it's
not- they're
a
not-
lengthy process.
They're not built on spec. They
Correct.
built to order. Yeah.
Correct.
And if we don't do this now, decide we need to do it later, it would be this time next year before we could do it again.
Before we can participate in KISTA, that's
in the
correct.
program. But we could order a bus at any time.
Correct.
We don't have the ability on our own to do this?
Well, you can.
You could, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to bond a $500,000. The finance charge would go way up at that point if we did it by ourselves. What happens is when all the school districts come together, you get 5 buses from one district, 2 buses from this district, or bus here. Now you got a bond issuance of $2 million, which lowers the overall finance charge, and it gets pieced out to all the different districts. Where if we did it by ourselves, we would
And-
bear the burden of that total
And
finance.
why are we doing 5 buses when we really need 10?
Well, it's a good question. I was hoping that maybe if we finish the year better than we're currently projected, that we might be able to pay cash for 5 in the spring, but I can't answer that question for you today.
But that was what you explained at the previous meeting, that if we have fallout money, you could apply it to Transpo.
Sure, absolutely. And we would certainly want to look at one of our first priorities, because again, all we're really doing today, if we do this, is kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
We typically need about 10 buses a year to operate, 10 new buses a year to operate. And so by only doing 5, if that's what we end up with, if we don't do any, then obviously next year the hole gets deeper.
And also, because we hold them for 14 years, we have 10 or 12 age out.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's how we got here.
Right, and-
So that's,
And another reason we want to go ahead and get 5 is if we don't do any buses this year, then the need next year, instead
Will
of
be-
10, goes to 20. So
because of the
again,
aging out.
you don't want to get in a situation where you go several years without purchasing buses, and then we're in a situation you got to have a bunch of buses at one time. That creates a big bubble in our budget that we don't want
Don't
to,
have a way to swallow.
we don't want to let it develop and become unmanageable.
A bus is roughly $100,000.
$80,000-$90,000.
Depending on what you get, but yes, you're anywhere between $80,000 and $100,000.
Which is a pretty good deal
Without
for
air
what they are, in a way.
Without air conditioning.
Without air conditioning.
Yeah, without air
We
conditioning.
were having no buses with air conditioning because it would be a major
Fight over who
fight
got those
over who
buses.
got the air conditioned bus.
But I think we should have started buying air-conditioned buses several years ago. But that's just me. I'm gonna trust you all.
Just,
Let's vote. I'm ready to
Just
vote.
start school in September and end it before it gets hot, and we'll need heaters, that's all we'll need. No fall break, no spring break, no Christmas holidays.
I'm
You
gonna
didn't even
trust,
want
I'm
me
I'm
to
gonna
gonna
start
trust,
dodging stuff here.
I'm
in
gonna
a
trust you,
Exactly,
Mr.
Charlie.
Chairman. Let's
Okay,
vote.
call the question.
Okay, we're gonna leave it the way it is as of right now. If we have to do a major rethinking of it, and it's done before the time that John sends that contract off, we can change it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right. Glad you got here late, because no telling how long the discussion would have went if we discussed everything else. No, I like.
No, that was good. That's
I
a
like
very
constructive.
important discussion,
It
and it's
was
good to get that
very
on the
good,
record.
yes. We talked about it. All right, we're down to the action items, and nothing on action items. New business?
Yes, sir.
No new business. Superintendent's report?
Awesome. First off, at 7 o'clock tonight, the Central Hardin girls soccer team is in the finals of the region, so we want to wish them the best of luck. And if you're looking for something to do at the end of this evening, go out and support them. The game is at Central Hardin High School, so it's nice and close, unlike some of the other games that have been playing for the boys regional. Just want to share with you all today and tomorrow, we had our Hats for the Homeless fundraiser going on, and this is to raise money. Believe it or not, in the school district, we have students who do not have consistent housing. Some live at motels, some live with family members for as long as they need, and so they're just in very unstable situations. So Lynette Kennedy with our outreach program has been working very diligently to assist these families, first with finding affordable housing, but also finding employment that will allow them to consistently pay for their housing, and then also financial literacy classes for those students and their families. And it has been a great program. We have assisted 11 families, and I will tell you, 6 months in, all 11 of those families are still in their homes, and they are paying their own rent and working as well. So it's just an incredible program that we felt the need for, and she's done a great job with that. We've had lots of community support with that, received a check yesterday from Miss Owens and Mr. Swope. Bob Swope came in and presented a check for $2,000.
Great.
And so he challenged and said the next group that comes up with 1,000, he'll match it. So if you know anybody wants to put up 1,000, he
That's
said he would
fantastic.
match it. So just great things happening there. The other item I want to share with you is really cool. We took, John helped me out here, I think it was 12 teams to All-Tech today. 8 teams, I apologize. We took 8 teams to All-Tech in Elizabethtown. They are doing a challenge for our students, and it come up with a problem in your community. Use STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math to fix that problem. So they received a tour today and lunch at the All-Tech plant, and each group will work with an engineer to come up with a strategy, and they will present that to a group of community members, and one of those teams will win $10,000 for the purpose of advancing their suggestion of improving a problem in our community.
That's great.
So,
Fantastic.
Wow.
just amazing to have that opportunity for our students. And Mr. Wright and I went on a very quick tour today before the board meeting, and it was an incredible place, probably the cleanest factory I've ever been in, by far, or building for that matter. But the engineers each took our students around in groups of 8 to 10. So they had a great experience today as well. So we are very fortunate to be here in Hardin County with all the community support.
So were the teams from all 3 of our high schools?
We had teams from all 3 high schools and 2 teams from EC3 as a combined a combination of different
good.
schools.
That's good.
They'll be doing their final presentations November 22nd, so they have a little while to practice. So just want to congratulate those teams. That's it.
Good.
We do need an executive session.
Okay, we do need an executive session, and the other things on the or the board calendar, and we'll be adjourning after that.
So this is the last public
Actually,
issue.
This is the last public
There'll be
issue,
no
so
action taken.
we appreciate y'all coming. We won't be adjourning the meeting until we come back out, but we do appreciate you coming. If you don't want to stay here until we get out, we understand.
What's the purpose of the meeting?
We have to vote on the
Student
Oh,
hearing.
student hearing.
Student discipline.
Okay. Yeah, that's
disciplinary
right. I
hearing.
forgot about that.
We had a student hearing today at the noon meeting, and we'll be
John.
finishing that this evening.
Thank you all.
We need to speak to us.
Oh, yeah, we need a motion. I move that we go into executive session to vote on a student disciplinary issue.
And I second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Let it be done.
Motion
Terry.
Well, thank you.